Hi there. How is everyone? Welcome to Spiritual Journey, and I'm your astrologer, Colleen Jorgensen. So, we're here to talk about the Leo full moon, and it's, excuse me, it's a passionate energy that is about to manifest. So it arrives shortly after Valentine's Day on the 16th of February at 9:56 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, at 10:56 a.m. Central Standard Time, at 8:56 a.m. Pacific on the Pacific, and 11:56 on the Eastern coast. So it is the fifth full moon in a series of seven that have landed at the 27th degree of a sign. So this one is really close to the royal star of Regulus. And this royal star is about royalty, kings, leaders, and nobility. So you get this real dominance of energy here. Now, Regulus moved into the sign of Virgo back in 2012. It's just newly in there. And so this kind of gives Regulus this real directing, heart-centered energy. It softens it with the feminine, and so it brings about women rising to power. It brings about being of service as a leader, healing, and being compassionate in many ways. So Regulus is the heart of the lion. It is, according to Peter Burns, connected with both Mars and Jupiter. Regulus is the watcher of the north. So the quarters, the north, the east, the south, and the west. This is the north. It is governed and watched over and guarded by the healing archangel of Raphael. And so we really get this energy coming forth in this full moon that deals with royalty, glory, great power to achieve material prominence in the world. It brings success. But what we must have to realize is it doesn't necessarily bring a happiness. Because when you are a leader or in charge, there's a great responsibility that comes with that. So persons in roles of leadership and royalty, nobility will most likely be highlighted at this full moon. So it's, and the energy of a full moon or new moon doesn't just arrive bang on that day. It kind of begins to flow into that energy. So it's no mistake that the Queen of England bestowed the name of Queen Consort to Camilla. It's her 70th year on the throne, and she seems like she's preparing for that transfer of power to her son. And so this is definitely a very strong energy with that Leo so close to Regulus, the gaining of power, status, people rising into positions of power and status, and falling from those positions of power and status. So, people can be stepping to the plate and rolling into a position of prominence, which is really inspiring to the people of the land or the nation, and doing really righteous actions. So in Canada here, for example, we had the fall of the leader of the Conservative Party. And now we have a woman who has stepped in term until another leader is selected, and she is really charging forward against the governing party. So according to Bernadette Grady, the moon joined with the royal star of Regulus, also indicates that a natural leader comes forth that leads with love and devotion rather than for power and authority. And Lord knows we kind of need that energy. So we're really drawn to humanitarian issues rather than just self-gratification. So the moon is about the people and the people's interests. And Regulus here indicates an event is driven perhaps by the people. There is pride here, succession, and there is no room for failure. Failure is not an option with this full moon. So it seems fitting for this full moon to arrive at this time. And it really is going to shine this big spotlight, because that's what full moons do, onto the leadership of many countries, not just Canada's. So in Canada, there's a group of people who are very dissatisfied with the leadership of the country. And so those people are now standing up and speaking out. Many people in other countries, like England, are very concerned about their leadership, specifically England and Boris Johnson. We can start to see discontent rising in many areas of the world as this full moon bears down on us. And so you wonder, what do the people think? What do the people think in other countries? China, what do they think of their leaders? What do they think of their leaders in Russia or in Australia? What do they think of their leader in the Ukraine? And so we get this real emergence of really a spotlight shining down on those leaders and saying, are they doing their jobs? Are they governing in the interest of the people, or are they simply governing for their own self-interest? So this is a point where the people sort of make a proud stance and kind of say, this is how we feel towards this leader. So the full moon is just that. It's a time of culmination. It's the time of recognizing, because that big movie spotlight is shining right down there on the people, and the people are kind of going, you know, what do I think of this, and where do I think this is leading? So, but not only just for leaderships, but about your own leadership. Are you advancing? Are you getting the promotions that you think you deserve? Are you moving up the ladder? Are you being recognized for your hard work, even if you're not interested in moving up the ladder? So there's a real discontent in the heart here about your status, your positioning, and do you feel that you maybe need to make a change? So Leo is the sign that likes to be noticed. Leo likes recognition. If nothing else, say you did a good job. You're worth your weight in gold. So this is Leo is competitive. So just put two Leos in a room and just watch them. And so it's about goals and aspirations. It's about your profession, your direction, and are you leading your own charge? Are you proud of what you're doing? So Leo was birthed in the middle of summer. So this is a sign that is very playful, youthful, and entertaining. It's a sign that loves to be charming, gracious, generous. It likes to be creative. It likes to take risks. It likes that bit of excitement. However, it also rules children. So children's issues will most likely become front and center at this full moon. Are our children healthy? What does their future look like? What are my concerns about what my country looks like for my children in the future? So those things. Leo doesn't like rejection. It likes admiration. It is the heart center. So therefore, it also rules the ego, the center of self. So this can push our energies to really seek recognition and self-gratification. There's a devotion here to some extent where a Leo will pour out their heart and soul to those that he knows has allegiance with them. He gives them benefits. He gives them comfort. Leo likes those creature comforts. It likes to laze around in the sun. It's a fixed sign and it can be rather stubborn and determined not to change, not to move. So this full moon can really indicate that the population is really going after what they desire, but is really stubborn and is really fixed and determined in that mantra, in that heart mantra. So really it's about confidence, it's about conceit in some ways, and it's about drama unfolding. So this definitely addresses the power of the people. Unfortunately, the moon is in a precarious position. It is alone. It doesn't seem to have a lot of support from the other planets. It is making a tight in conjunct to Pluto in Capricorn. And so Pluto is the lord of the underworld. And I always feel like I've got to open a gate or I have to make an exchange. I have to give something in order to gain passage in there. Capricorn is the government, corporations, the people with wealth, status, positioning. And so you get the lord of the underworld kind of moving through the halls of power, and you wonder what is going on because Pluto doesn't like to reveal what they're doing. There's kind of a secret hidden element going on underneath their financial issues, and they're really kind of secretive, like they could have this little secretive group. You know, I almost like in it, like, you know, a deal with the devil or something. So you get this yod that comes from this Pluto in Capricorn against the people in Leo. And they're just looking for leadership. The people are just looking for leadership. And if you don't lead them, then they're going to lead themselves. And so this energy can really be challenging because it's hard to decipher what the problem is exactly. And so you can get new leaders emerging, and you can get this struggle with some of the older leaders and this real frustration in trying to figure out recognition or who needs to be recognized for what they have done. And so a need needs to be met. But there's a disconnect between the powers that be and the people. And this disconnect indicates that there's a blind spot, there is a stalemate, there is definitely a crisis that something has to be done. But what that something is probably hard to determine. And in conjunction states that you need to act in a certain manner, that there are protocols in place here that need to be used. And that can be frustrating because the person really doesn't know what those protocols are. For example, that's like me walking into a court of law and pretending I'm a lawyer, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't know what the protocols are. So really, I'm like a ship without a rudder. And so the people on the other side with the in conjunction are looking at these people and really suspicious of what they are doing, that there's underhanded corruption going on here, that there's an underlying cause that there could be, and quite possibly, a conspiracy that's happening. So this real obsessiveness with these two issues can be manifesting. So the Pluto is in sextile to Pallas Athene, newly in Aries. She's wanting to bring forward new information, new knowledge. And she is really aggressive here. She also has an inconjunct to the moon, and she is really quite determined that perhaps we don't understand this new information. We don't have the knowledge or the wisdom. There's a blind spot there. We just don't know what's going on exactly. Nobody has told us. But the powers that be will definitely be using this information from Pallas Athene. Is it relevant? And is it true? So there's this competition here, and it's really like difficult to end it all. The moon is also in a real struggle because she's at the end of Leo, really, that she has to finish up things. So the people or the population have to finish up things. They could actually be losing support on an individual stand, but believe me, they're not losing support in the world, on a world stage. She is also void of course here. So that means that the people are kind of exhausted. They're depleted of energy. And they really are trying to accomplish something, but really nothing has materialized here. And so it's a precarious kind of energy that kind of really says, wait, take another look at things, redirect, finish up, and then move forward. The sun rules the moon, and the sun is in the latter degrees of Aquarius, and they're 180 degrees apart, which are all full moons. And then, so now you have the leaders are saying, the leadership, which is the sun in the direction, is saying, this is an issue that is directed at what is best for the group, not for the individual. We are looking at futuristic for all of the people, not just this little group over here or this little group over there. And so we could find that the leaders are also looking at scientific evidence, and that because that's Aquarius, new information scientifically. And so they could be saying, well, we're waiting for this new information. We are actually looking for some new their viability or new stance on whether we can proceed going forward. So we can feel like there's a lot of pressure here that we're stuck, that we're not quite ready to move ahead yet, that we have to finish up old business, that we're not ready to go ahead. So if you're looking for the lifts in COVID, yes, I believe that some countries have announced them, and I believe that's going to go ahead. But right now they're looking at the science, and they're looking at what is best for the entire group, not just one individual. So what has happened, what is happening is that opposition is now at a 90-degree square with both the north node and the south node. And that is a differencing of opinions. Do we move forward to the future, or do we just stay with the past? And we're kind of stuck in that middle zone. And what does the future look like? And what feels comfortable? So it's kind of like comparable with that Uranus-Saturn thing to some degrees. What do we value? What is deemed important in how we share our resources and share our lives together? And so there's a real struggle here about what does the country look like? What does the world look like? This is karmic energy. The past actions will reflect upon the future. And so you can really get that pull. The moon is in a very creative sign, though, and it seeks resolution through heart-centered wishes. What's next? We can feel as though we are caught in the middle in some sort of vortex as we seek to break free from those past controls. So Uranus is the master of the sun in Aquarius. And Uranus is just separating from that square to Saturn, which produced its third contact in December. So this planet of Uranus is a planet of revolution, rebellion, escaping control, of freedom. And so when we're locked back into these mandates, we can really feel like we're in prison. And Uranus is now gaining strength. He's moving forward. He's separating from Saturn. He's really gaining and achieving his own energies once again. And he's in the sign of Taurus. What do I value and what is worth fighting for? What is a worth revolution? What is worth rebellion? What does that look like? So Uranus is really gaining strength in 2022, and he sees rebellious action as a cry of freedom. Let freedom ring. And so it's interesting because as we head into the Pluto return of the United States of America, we have this really strong Uranus bearing down on us. And that country was birthed out of the concept of freedom and rebellion and let the banners fly. Like, we want to govern ourselves. We want to be in control and independent from Britain. And so this planet is gaining energy, gaining strength as it moves forward in 2022. So Venus rules over this, and she has been weaving her way through. She's really strong. She's rising in the east right now. She's just gone through her rebirthing process due to her retrograde station. She is now the warrior. She's ready to pick up the sword, and she is ready to be on the front lines. But she is really kind of controlling many things that are going on, whether subtly or aggressively. She's really moving through that. So she remains in her shadow period, and she will break new ground at the beginning of March. But what is interesting is she connected with Mercury. She perhaps tried to explain her situation of what she wanted, because she's in Capricorn, and where she was really seeking her power and control, to no avail. And so now she is hooking up with Mars. So the two lovers of the zodiac come together, not for their usual 10 days, but for an extended, amazing, almost 2-month period. So this is like a little bit comforting in many ways, but it definitely will indicate that she now has the support she needs in order to move forward. Mars is a warrior. He's exalted in the sign of Capricorn. He knows where he's going. He plans. It's strategic. He knows what the outcome is going to be before he even begins to move into action. He's reassured of the steps forward, and he's now got Venus by the hand. He is showing her the way, showing her the steps. And so they are both in the sign of leadership, status, professions, you know, your career, your job. They're both in that, you know, who am I? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be known as? And so this is a real uplifting of confidence for Venus and Mars, because when you have a partner right by your side, you're way more confident than if you have to go it alone. So we as individuals are looking to gain our power back, and we have allies with us. So this is a time where we can consolidate, create stability. We can create our rules and the rules that we need. It's about infrastructure, and it's about the elimination of our fear now. That thing in the closet, we have to go and open up the door and actually see what actually is in the closet instead of hiding under the covers. So these two present a very positive omen for resolution. A partnership is formed, alliances are available, agreements. We are ready to step into our own energy, and somebody's right there. Two is better than one. Propositions, proposals are presented, a unified front, a romance, a new relationship. Valentine's Day is just going to be like fireworks going off. Mergers in business, consolidations coming together, you know, engagements, and the creation of a future as these two partners make love in the universe. So things are fresh, alive, and futuristic. And what does that look like for business? So this can be a time where we actually step out of the restrictions and security maybe of that job that we were in, and we're really not happy there. Our heart center says, I don't like working here anymore. I really need the freedom to go take the risk and to start my own business. I really need to do this. And you have encouragement now, and you have possibilities with that Leo moon. So Saturn is ruling this couple. And Saturn has really been drawing hard lines in the sand. Saturn is saying, this is the boundary, this is the border. So no, you can't get over to that closet and open the door because I'm not going to let you. So Aquarius with Saturn, and Saturn isn't hooked into that Uranus anymore. So we have this, we can draw our own lines in the sand. So Aquarius is moving into the future, taking our lead, not by Saturn anymore, but by Uranus, taking our lead that we want something new, we want something fresh moving into the future. So Venus is, of course, Lord of Uranus, and Uranus is ruling over Saturn. And so we do get these, I'm going to fight for what I value, for my children. I am going to maybe stand up against those in positions of power. Maybe I'm going to endorse somebody who I want to see in power. Maybe I want to step up to the plate and be the power. So those decisions are very embedded in this chart for that full moon. So support is coming strong. Agreements, resolutions, negotiations, but there is a disconnect behind the rebellious people. Where do we want to hold the power, and what do we want that power to look like? And really that needs to be put back into the hands of the people in a democracy. Especially in the United States and Canada, they are cancer countries. Their leadership is ruled by the people, which is Cancer, not by Capricorn. And so people in positions of power take the direction from the people. the population, their constituents, the ones who have voted for them. And so we have to remember that we are cancer in North America. We are cancer countries. And the people actually were meant in a democracy to govern the rulership. So this whole energy can really start to create a movement in many ways, and it doesn't have to be violent or resistant, but a movement that aligns us to our own value system, what is in our heart center, what we really want in our leadership and our leaders. So our value system is changing. And we have and are going to see the introduction of new leaders, new people coming to the plate. And some of us are going to release. We're anxious to let go of those old ways. So shortly after this full moon, the next aspect that the moon makes is with Mercury in opposition. And this is like somebody is just trying to carry on a conversation and fill in a bunch of information which is irrelevant, basically. So it could tangle up negotiations, it could tangle up miscommunication, news media saying things that are not true, and or people gossiping. So there's trivial matters are coming up, but they're really not relevant to the bigger issue. We have to kind of get to the crux of the matter. So there's a restlessness and annoyance that nobody's listening, and that can really drive us in the wrong direction. Jupiter, the thing about this chart is Jupiter is in Pisces, and Jupiter loves Pisces. And so Jupiter is in sextile to Uranus, and Uranus is in Taurus, our values. And so we have the judicial system, the truth, the law, the courts. I don't really necessarily think, in my opinion, that Jupiter or the court system really knows what they should do with some of this energy that is manifesting. In other words, they seem like they would just prefer to stay out of it. However, they are dragged into it just because Uranus is there. And so, but they seem to be a little confused about what exactly the law states and how they could actually use the law. And so maybe new laws need to be created. But as of yet, like, I don't know if they know exactly what to do. So finding resolution is difficult, but Jupiter in sextile to Uranus does open the gates for innovation, invention, genius ideas. It does open the portals for new information coming forth, and it's just going to wash over us like a torrent of technology that just emerges like really out of nowhere. So finding resolution in our faith and our belief system, perhaps in our religion, is going to open up that heart center more. We're going to feel more comfortable, and it's full of possibilities. Like, just optimism kind of rides with this energy, and it's different points of view, different perspectives, a new way of looking at things, a fresher way of energy. So it manifests our desires through organizational skills. Groups form in really unexpected manners. People come together, new industries, scientific advancements, and also spiritual rebirth of belief systems. What is valued? What is important to us? And what do we want to instill in our children? So this energy is ramping up as we move into the next month. We feel the pressure building. We can feel as though we're under a tremendous amount of pressure, a breaking point, a breakthrough point, caught in the middle, demanding and forcing things into place. A story is unfolding really in the fabric of the universe. An excitement, a change is at hand, a need for new love, new passion, new creative ventures, the birth of a new light, a new leader. This will take bravery, courage, like the lion. Passion is born anew. It fills our heart with desire. And we can cheer once more with excitement and with a proud stance of this is who we are. This is my country. These are my countrymen. This is my land. So as Robert Jordan said, the wheel of time turns and the ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Legend fades to myth, and even myth is long forgotten when the age that gave it birth comes again. We are now in the age of air. We are dawning anew and creating a new way of life. A new energy is upon us. And as such, this new energy can change everything. And so it's up to us to make the decision of how we want to proceed. So I wish you well with this full moon in Leo. If you're looking for a little bit of magic, Leo is all about that heart center. It's all about that light a candle, rejuvenate, cleanse, like an imbolc, and just feel full of love, because love will conquer everything. So I'll catch you again, and I hope you do join me next time when I talk about the new moon. Have a great day. Bye.